What's up, guys? Before we get into the video, I have an announcement to make. I recently started a second channel called The Taco Cat, which I am currently leasing to a friend of mine. So please subscribe to that channel if you haven't already. Now, without further ado, these are the top 5 reasons I hate longsword users in Monster Hunter. Number 5. They always trip you. If I had a nickel for every time I was tripped by a longsword user, I could own a mansion on a private island where Jeff Bezos is working as my butler. Scrubby longsword users have been around since the dawn of time, flailing at the monster's head while complaining that blunt weapon users aren't getting enough KOs. Meanwhile, said blunt weapon users are falling flat on their faces because someone doesn't understand the vicinity of their own attacks. Lance users will scream in fear the moment a longsword joins their lobby, as to them it's God's way of saying their time has come. The weapon's mighty tripping power leaves no survivors in its wake, which unfortunately cannot be said about the user's ability to hunt. Number 4. They're everywhere. If one longsword user isn't enough to trip you, how about 3? These little menaces to society are everywhere in online Monster Hunter, to the point where it's difficult not to run into them during an online hunt. How Longsword became the most popular weapon in Monster Hunter World, I'll never know, but I can only assume that the darkness in people's hearts is attracted to the unholy aura that the longsword gives off. I'm not trying to say that longsword users are evil, but I am saying they should give some thought to why they're so sadistic. Number 3. They have 3 brain cells, 1 for each button in their moveset. The laws of science state that you only use about 10% of your brain at a given time, but that's a bit too optimistic for most longsword users. They just like to watch the shiny red gauge on their screen fill up as they hit things that aren't other hunters, and then they press the right trigger 4 times to unleash a combo they swear is more complicated than it looks. The easiest way to identify a longsword user's hunting IQ is to look at the current level of their spirit gauge. If it's colorless, you might as well be hunting with a sleeping vegetable. If it's white, they've proven that at bare minimum they know how to press buttons. If it's yellow, then you've run into the occasional longsword player that understands how to pull off combos. If it's red, you've just come across the longsword user who has learned to utilize all 3 brain cells to their maximum potential, and you can almost hear them shouting "Brain Blast!" each time they pull off a spirit round slash. However, even the most impressive longsword users have their drawbacks, just as operating with 3 brain cells has its limitations. Number 2. They're Weeaboos. Because the longsword bears striking resemblance to the Japanese katana, it has become a fan-favorite weapon among Weeaboos in the Monster Hunter community. I'm not talking about Japanese players, I'm talking about the guy who joins your lobby with a character named Sasuke or Oni-chan. These are dangerous people who have delved too deep into the otaku lifestyle, and they are most often found wielding the longsword. Because they believe they are anime protagonists in real life, these reckless Weeaboo longsword users rely on plot armor to keep them alive instead of strategy. They attack the monster however they want, wherever they want, and whenever they want, as if hunting etiquette didn't exist, occasionally while shouting about taking revenge against the monster that killed their father. Wait a minute. Number 1. They'll only get worse. This one comes with a bit of inside information. My dad works for Capcom, and he says that the next Monster Hunter game will take place on extraterrestrial planets, and there will be a space-themed combat system that mimics the underwater combat from 3 Ultimate. Now, I don't know about you, but if I got tripped by a longsword in 0 gravity, I'm pretty sure I would fly out of orbit and have to be carted all the way back to base camp from a neighboring solar system. In order to prevent that, I started a petition to get the Longsword removed from Monster Hunter before the next game releases, so that no one would have to bear that awful weapon ever again. So there you have it, guys. The top 5 reasons that Longsword mains are trash in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. If you agreed with my opinions, please consider joining me in the crusade against all Longsword users for the good of mankind. Thank you for watching, and I hope you get to lead a wonderful life. Unless you're a Longsword user.